Again, I'm not a religious guy. I don't care what you believe. Hopefully it makes you a better person, which should be the goal for every single one of them. But I do need to say this. I think religion is, for the most part, one of the most responsible parties for the state of affairs at the moment in this society. We have such a big brain. I mean, we presume to be the one with the biggest brain ever, the most capable brain, just because we were able to gather thoughts about our consciousness. But instead of using it to actually try to make our lives better every day, we just use it to find ways to enamor ourselves with thoughts of power and control, and justifying or using our brain to justify certain actions that shouldn't be a thing within ourselves, that they affect very large amounts of people. And we keep on reverting back to war and to conflict and to not actually speaking to one another. Not even with all the technology and communications capabilities that we actually have at the moment. It's impressive to me that we think ourselves as the most intelligent, and we keep on doing those kind of things. I'm not judging if you would like war or to be violent or to take out your testosterone. I mean, it's our nature, but at what point do we stop believing that that's our only way to survive or to do things well? I don't think we even mind that we have the potential to destroy ourselves, so long as the right kind of unchecked ego is in charge. And that's just idiocy to me, because I am a firm believer that we do have the biggest brain that has ever existed regarding capabilities and imagination and cognizant thought. We've proven that over and over again. I mean, there's a car that was invented in the 90s, I think, 80s, 90s, that ran on water and gave you great mileage, and yet after attempts to purchase the patent or the idea, I'm not sure who, but I mean, that guy was killed. So our intellect is at that level. We already know how to do a lot of stuff, but then there's a juxtaposition of the counterweight of what stupidity can actually do when it has power. And we're seeing it right now. There's no reason to be at war with anybody, but some people just want to accumulate more and want to drag everybody else along for the ride when they are the victims of that unchecked ego's unimagination and mediocrity, mental mediocrity. And that's one of the perks of being a religious person. Sometimes it's not your fault. It's not that you're dumb. It's just that you're being controlled by ideas that are ephemeral or that cannot be proven, just because you are afraid that nothing happens after you get uninstalled from this life. And that's fine. I mean, we all have our fears, we all have our beliefs, but if it's not making us enjoy this experience and be a productive member of a community, then what the fuck are you doing? You think you're saving yourself from dying by being, legendary or remembered because of how much you accumulated? And yeah, you may end up living in people's minds, but what was the cost? You never enjoyed your life, you never enjoyed your family, you're married to somebody that you didn't want to marry just because it was the right thing to do. You had children that you didn't actually want to have because that was the right thing to do. You didn't decide in good conscience to accept something that you are just because other people may think of you as less. And this happens a lot in religious circles. I mean, look at the right side of things in the capitalism capital of the world. I mean, they're family men. They are really macho, really alpha, as they like to call themselves. They are go-getters and exert dominance and show the rest of us how it's done. And their ego is unchecked, and where does it lead them? They don't have a notion of what love is because they've never experienced it. And this is no judgment on anybody. We all have needs and wants and expectations of what life should be, but we keep being drilled into our minds ideas that make us think that materialistic thinking is the way to go, when it's a complete waste of time in the end. I don't see any fulfilled people having midlife crises, but I don't see any of those. I only see people who try to. You mainly see people trying to connect with other people, trying to enjoy their existence, their experience, and actually doing what they love. Probably not for a living, maybe they're not that lucky, but as a hobby, as we call them, those type of things. And then you see their smile and how they act and how they are willing to help. And you can see literally in their actions and in their things that they talk to you about, the intention to enjoy this life as much as possible, because they have that knowledge. I'm a great believer in death being one of the best teachers to allow you to build a fulfilling life. I am truly a fan of that theory, because that's worked for me. I don't know what happens after. I don't want to say that I do. But if consciousness and logic and being critical and objective, or trying to be objective, if in that there's any kind of reason, that there shouldn't be a reason for your consciousness to move forward, because we are living in a limited body, age-wise, and it's hard to accept it. Hard to accept that we are like something that will someday drain away or fade away, and that's something they don't teach you, at least not with that sense of enjoying life because of it. They don't teach you when religion comes to be, and which should be their actual main objective, because if they're not teaching you to connect with yourself at that level, then what are they doing? Just reading you nice stories about people who didn't know where the moon went at night, or why it appeared during the day as well, or where did the sea go when it felt like we was going away. So they didn't have even that concept of a tide in their minds, and they are somehow responsible for thousands of years later showing us their kind of rules, which may have applied in their time, but they don't apply anymore. And yet we keep on letting them limit our experiences because it's the right thing to do, or because, quote unquote, you are not going to honor your parents otherwise. It's sad. I mean, it's really easy to know what life is about. I'm not claiming to be all knowledgeable, but I know this: if you don't enjoy your life, you're wasting it away, and you end up turning to be a frustrated, repentful, sometimes idiotic person. And that the first two don't actually make you a bad person at all. Some of us just live with our frustrations and keep on going until it stops, and that's it, and that's fine, and we're fine with that. We don't go beyond that. We don't make it other people's issue. And with all the capacity that we have, I'm pretty sure that right now is a good time to start questioning what religion is about. If it's about greedy, what they like to call themselves virgins, or greedy non-virgins, which are very greedy, that say they follow the guy who actually went into a church and threw all of the lenders and bankers tables to shit just because they were being greedy, and they were being greedy inside of temple. I mean, they followed the advice of a guy that told them to love each other and to love themselves so that they can cooperate and be progressive that way. And they do exactly the opposite. They like to throw words like taxes and immigrants and you don't belong, just so that they can kind of feel closer to home when it comes to religion, because that's what they think that religion is. That's what their pastors and their people on front tell them it is. They're not really understanding the purpose of belonging to a religion. I mean, I may not understand it either, but I know that how they're doing it right now, invoking war and killing and all that, it's just their inability to recognize that sometimes death is not the only option, that we can talk to each other. And they don't use it for that. They use their religions as teams, like being a left or a righty, a lefty or a righty. And they use it accordingly. I mean, as long as their team is winning, they don't care what happens next. What they do care about is being right and not actually having to think for themselves or just following orders, because that's more convenient. That way, if they're wrong, they weren't responsible for it. And I do think that that's one of the main issues with religions. They don't teach you personal responsibility or connection. They teach you to fear so that they can control you and they can control your thoughts and your actions, sometimes for their own benefit or other times for other people's benefits, who they will benefit from in the future. It sounds kind of all around the place, but it's really simple. I mean, just think of it as ego being unchecked. If ego is there, then you become a good person because you are able to find out who you are and what you want out of life. So that's ego. That's good to have. When it becomes unchecked ego is when it goes beyond that point to tell you that just because your skin is really sucky at processing the sun's rays, that somehow makes you a better person or better than somebody else. When you're exactly the same as everybody else. I mean, we're 99% the same as chimpanzees and bonobos, I think. So we're that close. What does it mean to you that your ancestors being all around shadows and clouds all day and not having enough pigmentation to help them with the sun's rays? How do you think that makes you better than a person who was at all times for generations right beneath the sun? They have more melanin. That's the only difference. There's no racist. You're a racist, maybe. We like to use that term quite loosely, but if you're a racist, is that what you think? If you do, it's sad because you're not better than anybody else. Nobody's better than you either, but you're not better than anybody else. And that's the main focal point of religion, them thinking themselves as unique or the ones who hold the whole truth. It's what makes them dangerous, because they are able to basically make us spend our experience in their devotion instead of actually trying to figure out how we can serve ourselves so that we can serve better or be of better service to our communities. It's not about socialism or communism or capitalism. All of them are great ideas, but every single ism that has been, or that will be, includes unchecked ego from a man or a couple of guys. And I say man because that's usually the case, although women and poverty aren't exempt from these kinds of attitudes, right? Because we also see that kind of attitude of being quote unquote successful by cheating or lying or doing whatever it takes to go get ahead, no matter who you lose trust from or who you damage in their experience. It's awful to think that people don't care about that part, because they sure as hell care when it's happening to them, when something bad is happening to them. And it's all about being a victim and all about being right again, even when they're not at all. So yeah, that's one of the main issues with religion. There's a lot of them, of course, and we'll surely get to them eventually. But for now, I just needed to make sense of what's happening right now, and I think that's the best answer. We cannot let unchecked ego keep on destroying the rest of us, because we just want to live normal lives and be happy. At least that's what I'm trying to do. So hopefully you have a great day. Thank you for your time. If you did listen to this, thank you.